So welcome back everyone to another episode of Chat with Dan here. Joining me today, what can I say? We have on the show the incredible, the amazing, the badass, the superstar, the legendary, the one and only, the incredible Megan. Megan, how are you today?
I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. What better way to have an incredible, super badass Wednesday than to be chatting with someone as badass as you? You know what I mean?
I know. I love it. Thank you.
There you go. Pretty cool. Now, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow. It helps a lot. But also in the description below, you're gonna find all of Megan's social media. Let's follow her. Let's find out why she's super badass.
Oh my God,
And
please.
without further ado, let's jump in. So, I want to start this whole conversation by throwing out the first question, which is, when you strip away roles, credits, and expectations, tell me who you are at your core.
I mean, I'm a born and raised Valley girl. I know we're very cliche, but I think without my acting career, I'm just a very genuine person. I cut it to you straight. I'm never gonna like bullshit you. I'm never going to any of that. I'm just a very real person. And I think a lot of people think actors are very fake, but when you take away all of that, I'm me. I'm a girly girl. I love to have fun and I love to just hang out with my friends and just live my life.
There you go. Epic. Now, early in your acting journey, tell me, what did you believe your worth was tied to?
I think early on in my career, growing up in Hollywood, I thought my whole career was based off of your appearance. I was like, if you don't have the Hollywood look, there's no career to be had. And I think it's a very toxic mindset to grow up in, unfortunately, because I started this career very young. I grew up as a dancer, I grew up as an actor. So I was always surrounded in this career. And I just think I thought, oh, because I grew up as a curvy girl. I'm still a curvy girl. I've embraced it. That's who I am. It's fine. But growing up into that, I was very much like, oh, I don't have the Hollywood look. It's all based off of your appearance.
Mm. And how tough was that?
I mean, it was extremely tough. I was so hard on myself. I grew up, my hair is not naturally blonde, fun fact. And I thought that I had to dye my hair to, fit this mold. And I very much thought I had to change myself to fit into this Hollywood lifestyle. I don't regret anything. I want to put that out there. I never regret anything that I've ever done to, my hair, to my appearance, to my makeup, to any of that. But I do think that I felt pressured to conform into this lifestyle that I was wanting to be in.
Mm. And how did all of that impacted you emotionally as you were making your steps into a pro career, let's say?
Emotionally, I think it was hard growing up in like high school, which is kind of when I really started to dive into this professionally. All of my friends in high school were not actors. I was the only one. So I didn't really have anyone to talk to about all of this. And it really took a toll because they never really understood, oh, why is she doing this? Why is she doing this? And I just had to keep it to myself. Even my parents, they tried to be as supportive as they could. And I'm forever grateful for that. But they're not in this life either. So it was a very isolating experience to always feel like your appearance was criticized and your voice and your height, things that you can't even control. So it was very tough growing up, but I think it's made me who I am today.
How did financial uncertainty shape your mindset during your early years of acting?
I think it's also still affecting me, just to be so transparent. This is a career where if you do not have stable financials, you really can't jump in and start. There's subscriptions for websites, you pay for headshots, you pay for your reel, you pay for now a self-tape setup because you have to film at home. As you see behind me, I have my whole setup here. So I think it's really tough. Again, I'm very grateful that I did have my parents because they supported me through all of it. They helped put me through college. They helped put me through dance classes growing up. And I truly think if I did not have their support financially, I would not be able to do this. Again, I'm still struggling now to pay for my casting network subscription every single month. I just got new headshots and it's like $100 to upload all of them. And I'm like, this is crazy. But I think it's tough. But again, I'm extremely grateful for having people to back me. But I just want to put it out there for, other actors that if you want to jump into this, make sure that you are as financially stable as you can be with a side job. I have a side job. That's okay.
That's part of the whole thing, you know what I mean? So I get it,
Yeah, we all
you
need
know,
it.
and how you were able to manage the stress, right? To pay bills, things like that. So how you manage that stress to keep up being positive and to keep working hard on your career and not let yourself being affected by stress because it happens sometimes, right? So,
My biggest thing is I love my to-do lists. That is my only way to function. Every night before I go to sleep, I make a to-do list for what needs to be done the next day because I know that there's so much that happens and I'm just going to forget something. So having it all written down is what helps me. I know that's not what helps everyone, but at least for me, like having a written list, like, okay, I have X, Y, and Z that needs to get done tomorrow. But then also making sure to give myself time to just clock out of this career. My biggest thing is like when you go to a job, you clock in and you clock out. Actors, we never clock out of our job because there's always emails to do, there's always auditions to read, there's always something to do. So your biggest thing to manage stress is clock out of your job, clock out of being an actor for a little bit. And that's okay. You need to have that balance for your mental sanity.
Yeah, I can understand that. And tell me, was there a moment when things looked successful from the outside, but felt quite heavy on the inside?
Oh, absolutely. I think, that's one of the biggest things also about this career is you can post on your Instagram story, hey, I just booked this, catch me in this, whatever. But you're over here struggling with your bills and you're over here struggling with, hey, what's my next job? Because that's part of the career as an actor is like, hey, I just booked this. Cool, I filmed for a week, but then I'm out of a job again. So I've definitely masked it where I'm like, I'm so excited about all these projects, but inside I feel like I'm crumbling because like I don't know what's next. And it's scary, but I think the more actors become transparent about how we're feeling internally, I think it's going to help other actors, newer actors, veteran actors, because we're all being real instead of having just that fake outwardness of just always being happy. We need to show that, hey, it's okay to crumble a little bit on the inside.
Do you think somehow it's yeah, let's say like the blame of the media, the fact that, for actors, musicians, like, like all of that, that somehow you're not allowed to actually express how you really feel. You know what I mean? You have to pretend this kind of fake idea or fake image, right? But you can't, but you're not allowed to express how you really feel. Do you think the media can cause that? And due to that, you have, actors who they feel stressed about it, basically.
I think so, because I think, let's say that I do book a movie, thank goodness I booked something. If I outwardly say, hey, I booked something, but I'm still stressed, it's going to come off as that I'm not grateful for my job. And then I'm going to get the comments of, hey, there's hundreds of thousands of actors that would kill to have this. Why are you not grateful? Just because I'm stressed doesn't mean that I'm not grateful. And I think that the media has definitely come out with, hey, you need to always be grateful for your opportunities. You need to always be, blessed. You need to always do this. And we don't want to see the negative side. But I think it's becoming more transparent. You scroll through TikTok now and you see there's a lot of day in the life of an actor. And a lot of them in the beginning was like, oh, I wake up and I do this and I do this, and it's so glorified. And now you look and they're like, I wake up and I have nothing to do. And they're becoming a little bit more real. And I think that's really helping the more we are. But again, I think the media has really, really impacted us with all of that.
Now, has there been like a rejection or a moment in your acting journey that forced you to confront yourself the most?
This is probably my biggest transformation story. I went to college for acting. It was a BFA acting program, so a Bachelor's of Fine Arts, and it was a conservatory, which means it's a very small program. We had about 12 to 14 people in our program, very, very tiny. After my sophomore year was concluded, all of my professors sat me down and said, you are not talented. You are never going to make it as an actor. You cannot come back to school anymore. And they fully kicked me out of college. And I, again, I'm young, I'm sophomore, I'm probably what, like 19, 20, give or take. I had no idea what I was supposed to do with my life because, again, I lived in Los Angeles, went to college in Connecticut, was forced back to Los Angeles, being told by everyone that I learned from and respected that I had no talent and I would never make it. And I quit acting because I was like, what am I supposed to do? So I spent a good year after that, just little day jobs and just whatever, trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And then one day I just decided, like, no, who are they to tell me when they don't know anything? Let me try. And now I am one of the only working actors out of the people who actually graduated in that class.
Switching to our halftime show, quick speed round questions, yes, no, or pass, super simple. Gonna ask you a couple of questions in which you can only answer yes, no, or pass. You ready?
Okay.
Have you ever waited weeks for an answer that took seconds to say no?
Yes.
Have you memorized the scenes that never made it past the audition room?
Yes.
Have you ever been told you were perfect, but still not right?
Yes.
Have you learned to live with uncertainty, better than most people you know?
Yes.
Have you celebrated a win that looked very small to everyone else?
Yeah.
Have you questioned your entire path while still, loving the craft?
Yeah, of course.
Have you learned to separate rejection from self-worth?
Kinda.
Okay, fair enough. Do you think actors develop patience faster than most people?
Yes.
Has acting taught you more about yourself than success did?
Yeah.
Do you believe this journey has made you stronger in quiet ways?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And a bonus question, can you cry on cue?
Yeah, of course.
There you go. Amazing. Now, returning to our normal transmission, tell me, what do you think is the biggest misconception that people have about actors in general?
Well, that's hard. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that we have no other skills. I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, they just act because like they don't have any other skill. I think people don't realize that acting is obviously there's talent and obviously there's all of that in front of camera, but there's so much business behind the camera that we have to have that knowledge. We have to have a business mindset. We have to know how to market ourselves. We have to know how to write. We have to know how to produce, direct. But I think a lot of people think actors are just I just want to look pretty in front of the camera. And that's definitely not what it is. Most of us, we're here to tell stories. We're here to change people's emotions. We're here to change lives. We're not here to just stand in front of a camera and look pretty.
I think that because of, streamers, athletes, content creators, celebrities, like media, like all of those people who are not actors, they start now having multiple gigs, and they start to book in A-list movies, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that has caused why people still think until this day that it's easy. Because if they could, so somebody who has clearly zero talent at all as acting, but he's in a film with Brad Pitt, let's say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I know a couple years ago, back a little bit before COVID, I remember getting a pretty big audition and I went into the room because this was still in-person auditions. And they said, do you have 10,000 Instagram followers? I was like, no, I don't. And they would not let me audition. And I think that was a very big in the beginning because they're like, oh, we want people who are going to, this was an indie film. So like, we want people who are going to have a pull to get ticket sales and to get marketing. So I did build up my Instagram following to, surpass the 10,000 mark. But now that social media has grown into so much, now that TikTok has blown up, as you were saying, so many influencers are now getting cast just for the sole reason of they're going to have that market, they're going to have that audience. And I think it's made it so much harder for the people. I'm not saying these content creators and influencers are not genuine actors, don't get me wrong, some of them might be, but the people who've actually put the time and the effort into studying their craft and perfecting their craft, I think we are losing out on opportunities. But in the other sense, I think that social media has also built up new opportunities. I posted one little TikTok a couple of days ago about how much I hate doing slates for auditions because I hate slating. I think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to auditions. And I got a couple brand deals off of that. And I got a couple casting directors who actually reached out to me. So I think social media has opened a whole new market for content creators. But again, I think it is ruining the general public's perception of what talent is.
Yeah, yeah, of course. One example that stood out to me the most was the one that there was this actress that she was, with her friends to see her in the show, and then it turns out that they removed the scene, they reshoot the scene with the Haktua girl, and then she was freaking out like, did they really switch me for the Haktua girl? Like, what
That's
the hell
crazy.
here? You know what I mean? And I can understand that because yeah, I mean you are taking years of experience acting, to actually start to master your craft, and then suddenly because someone became viral out of a stupid video,
Yeah.
then right now she's get the chance to get into bigger roles and things like that. I mean, I do think that it's nonsense why they are targeting like that when it shouldn't be. The way that I think is that you're actually showing between the lines that at the end it doesn't matter how talented you can actually really be and how much hours you
Exactly.
put on as long as you have a million followers on Instagram, basically.
It's the same thing with AI. I mean, so many, there's that one AI actress, I forgot. I mean, she's not even real, but whatever her name is, there's literal agents who are trying to sign her. I'm like, she's not real. Like, how are you trying to sign? So it's just the whole new market that I think it's tough for everyone who's kind of getting into it now because there's now so much competition, especially now that, since COVID, we do all of our auditions at home. So I live in Los Angeles, but I can easily self tape for Atlanta, for New York. Instead of before, I could only really audition for, Los Angeles roles. So I think competition has just gotten crazy out here.
As your definition of success has evolved, what matters more now than just booking the role?
I think when I grew up, I wanted to be famous. I wanted to have such a successful career that I was extremely famous. Now that I've evolved, I want success, but not fame. Success to me means keeping a stable career where I can still have my life. I think fame scares me. I do not want the life of walking around being constantly followed and your life judged. No, I can't. I can't do that. I don't want that. And I think booking is important, but success to me right now is maintaining myself, my mental health, my physical health, because I know when I dive into like I want this 100%, I I go crazy. My mental health declines, my physical health declines, and it's not worth it. To book a role to lose me as a person, not worth it. So, my success right now is yes, obviously booking is important, working is important, but also learning and growing and teaching. I have such a network of actors out here. We have a group chat with a bunch of actors out here, and it's just so nice to just bounce ideas off and have fun and just always be creating. And I think that's the most important is, creating your own work and just keeping sane.
And if acting disappeared tomorrow, what part of you would still remain?
That's hard because I think my whole life has always been related to acting. I've never really had a period without it. But I think if acting were to just disappear, I think I would still be a creative person. I would find another creative outlet because that's just who I am. I'm not someone who can sit in an office and just data whatever entry for hours on end. Like I tried that for my dad once. No, I can't do that. So I would find another type of creative outlet, whether it be, I grew up dancing, whether it be go back to dance, whether it be writing, whether it be drawing. Like I'm not good at drawing, but is it an outlet? Yeah, of course. Whether it be social media, I would stick with something creative. That's who I am.
Years from now, what truth about your acting journey do you hope people truly understand?
I hope people understand that even if it looks successful, it was always hard. I don't want anyone to ever realize, like, ever forget that there was a struggle in this career. Because I think, again, as we were talking about earlier, a lot of people glorify this career and they think, oh, she made it. She's done it. Right. But as I talked about with my college experience, as I talked about with this and this, like, there's so much going back that I want people to realize. But again, I also want people to realize that I never compromised my values for this career. Like I would never do something that I was not comfortable with. I'm very good with my boundaries and saying yes, saying no, and trying to, meet in the middle if we need to. But I just want people to know that I've always been genuine. And maybe, yes, have I made changes for this career? Have I dyed my hair? Have I done my piercing? Whatever it is. Yes. But that's also been a personal choice. It's not only for this career, it's for me as a person.
And in general, like what motivates you? We all have those days that we just want to quit. It's inevitable, happens to all of us. So how you stay positive on one of those days?
I definitely rely on my friends and family to help push me forward when I need to. If I'm crumbling, I'll go to one of my friends and just be like, help. And they will talk to me about, making sure that I still do want to do this. And there's no, if I'm like, I really want to quit, they'll find out, what's kind of triggering me. But I think what pushes me forward is I know I'm not done. I know that there's still more in this career that I haven't had the chance to explore. And I would never forgive myself if I didn't let myself explore everything I could. But again, I don't want to let down my parents. I don't want to let down my friends. Not that it would let them down if I did quit, but I've put so much into this to just quit now. I feel like it's just not a waste because I know some people do quit for, real reasons, for mental health, for stability, for all of that. And I don't fault them for that. I don't think I'm there yet. I think it's a tough career, but I think having that big support system, again, friends, a family, a therapist, a journal, even if you're by yourself, anything you can just to kind of get yourself out of that rut. But for me, I just know that there's so much that I want to do. And I have to let myself get the chance. Even if I don't end up doing it, I will never forgive myself if I don't fully 150% try to get that opportunity.
And you know what? My last question here, so we can all enjoy and relax. Tell me, what do you think that could be the best title for this episode?
Being true to myself.
True to myself. That could be a
Actually, I
title.
like that. Wait, oh my God, I did it. True to myself. I like that.
True to myself. There you go. We have a title. I mean, at some point, who knows? Maybe when you're writing your next biofilm or your first bio book and you're looking for a title, you could be like, I totally had a title back then, and you can just
True to
return to
myself.
here. You know?
I love
Pretty
that.
cool.
No, because it's true, because
Eh,
I am. I'm very much just me.
what can I say, Megan? I mean, the fact you're doing this, I mean, it's super badass for sure because
Yeah.
doing what makes you happy, and especially if it is outside the typical 9 to 5, tends to be a pain in the butt sometimes for sure. But you're making it happen. You're showing others that if you stay true to yourself, if you stay resilient, if you stay, going after it, you're gonna make it eventually. Step by step. But that's pretty cool because I mean, you're not just creating characters for us. You are showing us that dreams can come true. And I think that's super positive. And positivity is something we desperately need right now. In this crazy day we're currently living in.
Oh yeah.
The fact that we can rely on you and see how much you are putting the work to it, that is inspirational. That is incredible. And now I discover why you're badass. So
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
absolutely. I do want to thank also those who stayed the whole episode. Now by this point, come on. You should know why Megan is super badass. So let's follow her. Let's share some love. Hashtag Team Megan. And again, thank you for making this happen. Keep shining out there. Keep rocking. Keep kicking ass. And I'll definitely be seeing you in the next one.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.